Hey guys, Joe here with ECRM at our pet CBD and CBD food and beverage sessions in Cape Coral, Florida. And I have with me here today, Bridget from Hoban Law Group. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
So Bridget did actually two things today. She moderated one of our roundtables, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. And she also gave a great presentation on navigating the legal and regulatory landscape. So we're gonna give you a few takeaways from that. So just overall to start, it's such a changing landscape. It's shifting. Even as little as 2 days ago, you had to put two new slides in.
Two slides.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that new update?
Sure. So recently there's been sort of some foot dragging by the FDA, not really coming out with clear guidelines for advertising and sales. And so what the Congress has done is basically said, let's get things moving, and have put some teeth into their threats and saying, you have 120 days to get on board and give us some clear rules. And I think it's going to happen if there's across the aisle support, which there seems to be. We're not just talking about the Senate, but also the House. There's maybe two topics that the federal government agrees on across the aisle, and this seems to be one of them.
So hopefully we'll start seeing some faster movement than we've had.
Guidelines, yeah.
Okay. Well, you gave a few recommendations to our audience of buyers and sellers, and one of them was you mentioned going above and beyond in your cautiousness,
yes.
or what did you call it? The belt and
suspenders.
Okay, can you elaborate on that?
So I think there are certain things you can do. You can be more cautious depending on how risk averse you are. If you want to do your own in-house testing, keep your own samples. So if there is an issue, you can go back and say, hey, here's the evidence that we have that we are compliant. Different labs are going to give you different results.
Yes.
Depending on the state or depending on the federal agency that you're dealing with, they might take that evidence, to your benefit. I think also being very careful about the claims that you make. Frankly, you shouldn't make any health claims. There's nothing, really that's going to prove to the FDA that this is a treatment for something. So being very cautious what you put on the labels.
So just, err on the side of being conservative and cautious.
Right, especially right now with the ambiguous regulatory environment.
Okay, and speaking of that, you have your federal regulations and you have your state regulations, so you have to kind of navigate both of them.
Right, so there's state programs that have to be compliant with the federal program, and that was sort of the new robust 2018 Farm Bill. So, if your state is compliant with the Farm Bill, they have their own program, you're licensed with that state, then you're in good shape, or if you're buying from somebody who is compliant with those programs. So there's federal regulation, and then your state has its own rules as well.
Does it go local as well?
It can.
Okay, because I know in New York City we've had some things that I know are specific to the city versus Long Island versus upstate.
Yeah, and you have to kind of do diligence.
Yes.
For some clients, I'm calling counties, I'm calling municipalities just to make sure that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes the municipalities and counties don't know what they want.
Yes, so if it's tough for you guys to navigate that just for a supplier or a buyer,
It's a hard
gotta
environment.
be a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and what about marketing? Marketing is the same thing. There's we're limited on what they could say.
That's right. Yeah, I think you have to be real careful, like I said, not to make any claims about curing something. You have to be very careful. You can make general statements about wellness, but steer clear of the saying like we're going to cure cancer or something like that. The FTC has sort of inserted itself into this conversation recently with a CBD dispensary basically making claims for children and for cancer patients. So, we strongly suggest you don't.
Okay, and that includes testimonials, right? We talked about that.
You control the testimonial. If it's on your website and you're paying that person, that's not going to help you.
Okay, so I know some buyers out there may have on their website, they have some of their customers, quotes from their customers saying that it's a medical claim. They're making medical claims. That's a no-no.
Be real careful. If they're saying, I took this, I feel better. Generally, that might be okay. But if you're going and saying, no, I don't have arthritis. No, don't do that. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for the great presentation.
Thank you.
And for those of you who are interested in contacting them, you can reach them at hoban.law.
That's right.
Okay, we'll have that on the post as well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.